good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. So, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys and girls that are watching. You know me, those who've watched me for years. I've always been quite honest in my views and my viewpoints throughout my years of this channel, BWTM, BWTM Online, Bayloric TV, all the classic interviews, all that stuff, the gaming. I've always tried to be quite honest and try to be as non-biased as possible. Where even those people that are biased try to get me into their biased opinions. Now this one here, it's like a penny dropped, and it could just be my own penny that's dropped, and if it's my own penny that's dropped, that's fine. But some things kind of like don't. Some things are adding up, and I'm like, nah, this can't be true. This can't be right. My spider senses are going off, but I could be wrong. But let me talk this through with you. I'm gonna take you back a while. Dillian White sitting at the table. Barry Hearn is there, and he's going off about when he has to refer to people as sir and this. You have to call him Mr. Dillian White now, and all that talk about like the whole slave contract, right? And kind of like people were offended by it, and some people laughed it off, and we kind of moved on with it. Then I sort of looked at the way Dillian White wouldn't tie himself down to a contract, and he was always kind of like a free roaming sort of individual. And fair enough. I don't know the ins and outs of it, so I can't say I'm an expert, but okay. And then there was Deontay Wilder, who came out, talked about the slave contract, and often was kind of speaking to Joshua, and he wanted to talk to Joshua by himself. That never came about. But he as well aired his concerns about this slave contract. I'm like, okay, hey, how we doing? Hey Ingram, been out of boxing loop for years, feel the sport is washed up compared to when we did coverage. Yep, sure is. The classic binge watch where you're somehow convincing yourself that watching someone live their best life is a valid use of your Saturday night. Keep it up. This must be, yeah. Okay. Dante Inferno. It's been a long time to hear from you, Dante. Right, so, anyway, let me get back to my point. So these things are flagging up, and I'm like, Then I remember Joshua signed a lifetime contract. A lifetime contract with Matchroom. Do you remember that contract? That lifetime contract? And when I discussed that lifetime contract with Uncle Bashir, he said to me, no boxer signed a lifetime contract. A lifetime contract. A lifetime contract. I'm like, yeah, a lifetime contract. He said, that's a lifetime contract. That sounds like a slave contract. And I'm like, who would sign a lifetime contract? And that was like AJ was in his heights, right? He signed that lifetime contract. Now I don't know if AJ had been beaten by Ruiz a lot or not, but he renewed his contract with Matchroom. Then I heard sort of murmurings, didn't know how true it was, that there was stuff they had on AJ. Don't know how true it was. Read that somewhere. That stuff on AJ is past, and like he had to sign that contract. So it was all good that he signed the contract. Okay. Then it was Saturday. It was Saturday night. What disturbed me? First of all, the way Joshua was coming to the ring didn't look right. Didn't look like a guy who had his heart in the game. He looked like a guy who was going through the motions, but not a guy who actually wanted to be there. And if you could have cut out a long time ago, it'd have cut out a long time ago. But he was doing his part and saying the things that anybody would expect of a guy that was promoting a fight. Like he said all the stuff. And don't disrespect me and all this stuff. You better respect me, boy. All that stuff, yeah. And that all sounded good. But when he came to ring, when he's walking to ring, he didn't walk to ring like a guy that was authoritative. He didn't walk to ring like the same guy who was talking with that t-shirt on, with Daniel Dubois when they were doing that face-off. There's a different sort of energy. Then when he came out and boxed against Dubois, like hands down by his side, like doing all the things as an amateur boxer he probably wouldn't have done, getting caught with shots, no sort of game plan, just like a guy, a shadow of himself, quite literally. So I'm like, okay. But this is where it clicked for me. Joshua just got knocked out, knocked straight through the ropes. Not even 15 minutes later, the camera is in his promoter's face, and his promoter's saying, yeah, we're taking an immediate rematch. How can you say that? He'll need a rest, but he's got an immediate rematch. How can you say that with such detachment? And they said, we've got a contract. We've still got to honour one fight for Riyadh season. We've still got to honour a contract. We've still got to honour a contract. Okay. Our guy's just been rendered unconscious by the biggest punching heavyweight around. Right? Now, potentially, you're sticking this dude in next against Deontay Wilder next. Right? It's another fight where he could get himself rendered unconscious as well. And then on top of that, McGregor walks past and says, Fury versus Joshua's got to happen. It's going to happen regardless. Well, it would happen regardless if one guy isn't going to retire. And that isn't going to retire yet. Say, like, you can't retire for the next 2 to 3 years of your career. You're not getting a message, mate. Tony, that's not the subject point. Please listen to what I'm talking about. It's not the subject point. In fact, what I might do is, thank you very much. Any talk that's outside of what I'm trying to get at, the point I'm trying to get at here, please either delete, block. So this has happened here. I'm thinking, wait, hold on a second. Man gets just knocked straight through the ropes, right? And then 15 minutes later, his promoter's talking about immediate rematch, and we're going. Wait a second. How can you say that? How can you say these things like without any form of no heart? And then I think to myself, hold on a second. Let me go back to that lifetime contract that's been signed. If you have a lifetime contract over somebody, you own that person. And if you own somebody, you don't give a damn if they're getting knocked through the ropes and they're rendered unconscious. So you don't care about those things. All you care about is the money keeps coming in. It keeps coming in. It keeps coming in. And just think about this for 1 second. Anthony Joshua may have already given up on the sport of boxing. But he's contractually obligated to fight. Contractually obligated to fight. So when he comes out and says things like, please pray for me, that would start to make sense. Because that's a man that is fighting against his natural will to fight. If he's in a lifetime contract. Think this out a second, people. Who do you know, apart from Anthony Joshua, who signed a lifetime contract? And what makes you sign? Even Canelo hasn't signed a lifetime contract. Think about this a second, people. And track back to stuff that was said about the Hearns, the slave contract with Barry. Now, I didn't say those things, remember, so nobody can do me about this. It said that. That was said before. Then Deontay Wilder talked about it as well, and the slave contract. Just hold on a second. If that's the case, you're having a man that is boxing that doesn't even want to be there. And if you look at his attitude, his behavior, his mannerisms when he's in the ring, that's a dude that just doesn't want to be there. I mean, just think about it. Yeah, and he has to say he's not done. He wants to be 3-time champion because he can't quit. It's not your decision to say if you can. If it's in your decision to say, you know what, I ain't got it no more. You know, it's time for me to retire. You say that if you're a fighter and you just got smashed like that. I mean, smashed to bits, destroyed. Like, and you don't. You like, you stand. You look at that fight and go, I don't want this no more. I don't want to be in this sport no more. I'm not interested. I'm not. What much more money do I need to make? My family's settled. My family's settled. This is done. That's done. Why? Because that man in there has got no business being a boxing ring. Got nothing to do about the guy's been a bottle job or he's a hype job or he's exposed. None of that stuff. So if the conversation is in the room, yeah, I did. If the conversation is in the room, like if the conversation is like some of the conversations I've heard before, I'm promoting you, you better take this fight or else I'm not promoting you again. This is going to be your only opportunity, mate. I'm on my side of the contract. This is the fight you are going to take. This is the trainer you're going to go with. And if you are not a man, if you've sold your soul, if you're a man that is no longer in control of even your intellectual property, and you have no will to say, no, I don't want that fight, then yes, the Fury fight will happen, regardless if you get smashed to bits. Come on. Just for a second, think. You name me a situation where a guy's got absolutely poleaxed, which Joshua did. And the promoter says, yeah, we got an immediate rematch. When it's not even in the contract. Or they're saying it wasn't really in the contract. Come on. I personally, Joshua's demise started with the Klitschko, took a shot, didn't like it, realised he won't run through people, reality check and confident shot, really put that end to that. Maybe you got a guy that fought with. You can't compare that Joshua that fought Klitschko that night, and even the one that fought Dillian White. I mean, you've got to remember he had a good run, the Povetkin fight, but he was doing those things maybe when he was enjoying boxing. But when he went to America, which I said was a horrible move, and then I said to him, first all these people were like, hey, Joshua should go to America. I said, bad move. And then they picked Ruiz. I said, terrible move. And then that was the beginning of the end for me of Joshua. You're not getting it. AJ has signed a lifetime contract. Do you understand what that means, a lifetime? It means you do not have any control of what you say or what you do. You will do as you're told. So these are the instructions. You will box against Alexander Usyk. You will box against Franklin. You will box against Helenius. You will box against Otto Wallin. You will box against Dubois. You will. There's no choice about it. You will box Dubois. And after Dubois, you will box Wilder. And after Wilder, you will box Tyson Fury. It's not like, do you want this fight? No, you'll do as you're told because you signed a contract. And in that contract, it says you will fight this person, this person, this person until, well, we don't know how long. How long is this lifetime contract? 36, 37, 38, 39, 40? How long? all looking stuff about, oh, AJ said, you will do as you're told and you will promote this fight because it says in your contract. Oh my God, Barry, you're just so naive. You are so freaking naive, mate. You need to just, you're too naive, Barry. Can I have somebody in here who can actually check what I'm saying and kind of look back at this? They're milking for as much as they can, of course. Joshua won't win another world title. He doesn't want to fight, let alone that. Exactly, Cameron. AJ's mind has left boxing. Of course it has. But AJ did a video say, oh my God, move that across from Barry. A lifetime contract is tantamount to slavery. This is what I'm saying. So you've got a guy going through the motions. So what point when AJ was doing that world tour of looking for trainers, no trainer left behind, was that his decision? Why was he, even though he had trainers, going to Andre Durrell or the other Durrell brother, asking him to help him prepare for Usyk, a middleweight, a heavyweight, asking a middleweight to prepare him to fight Usyk? Why? When you've got trainers. A lot of things don't make sense. The fact that he potentially was concussed before he fought against Ruiz in America by that, I can't remember his name again, Joey Dubois, in sparring. Then I heard before that he was concussed before he fought the Matt Leg fight. Now, if you want to question what I'm saying here, we just have to look at the Conor Ben fight with Eubank and the fact that they would have tried to push that fight through when Ben had failed the drugs test, and they would have pushed that fight through as well. So it's not out of the landscape of possibilities that you'll push things through even if a person's concussed. And then let's go back to that point where Joshua's dad wasn't happy with the promoter, if you remember that time, when they were talking after Joshua being knocked out by or stopped by Ruiz. Do you remember? And Joshua saying, why am I feeling like this? Why was he feeling like this? Was he feeling the results of concussion from not too long ago by Joey Dubois when he was fighting Ruiz? When he went to the ring against Joey Dubois, against Andy Ruiz, he didn't look right. And that same look was in Joshua's face yet again, this time against Dubois. You tell me, what has happened? Hurt isn't going to say he calls the shots, will he? Haha, exactly. I don't. Let's see it here. Hearn always says we will see what is next after Joshua fight, which means we name his opponent, of course. Freddie Cullen, etc. want the best for AJ. They want the best for their back pockets. Let's be honest, bro. If Joshua wants Fury, but Hearn wants him to beat Helenius and Franklin, that's what he does. Wrong'uns. Surely a promoter will say what AJ wants, we will deliver. But if it's the fighter's choice, a promoter works around the fighter, not the other way around. Mick says, I have long wondered, money aside, who is looking after Joshua's well-being. Multiple KOs in sparring and KO in the ring. Totally on board with your scrutiny, Ingram. Thank you, Mick. But boxing is basically dancing with violence. DDD's next best thing, standard. Yeah, okay. Joshua didn't pick Ruiz when Miller dropped out. Matchroom made the call. Now, let's remember, Trevor Bryant was available at the time for Joshua to fight instead of Ruiz. Now, I got told this by Stacey McKinley live, because Stacey McKinley was the trainer for Trevor Bryant. And Trevor Bryant would have been a better guy for Joshua to fight than Andy Ruiz. Offensively and defensively, Trevor Bryant would have been a guy that Joshua could have walked through and would have knocked out. He would have knocked out Trevor Bryant without much problems. And he'd still be, people would still be saying, wow, from about Joshua. But they didn't do that because they didn't want to deal with Don King. Instead, they went to Al Heyman, and we saw what happened there. Just join. What's this all about? Also, do you think Turkey Al Sheikh forced Eubank to apologise for what he said about Frank Warren? Well, they didn't expect that. They didn't expect Eubank to say that. So, wasn't Bryant the regular champion as well? Was worth a fight? Yeah, of course it was. They underestimated Andy Ruiz. They didn't know about Andy Ruiz because their matchmaking is terrible. I could tell you about Andy. I knew more about Andy Ruiz than they knew about Andy Ruiz because I'd been talking to Abel Sanchez. Remember, I was doing those back to back interviews with Abel Sanchez. We'll talk about Gennady Golovkin and we'll talk about Golovkin's rise, and because he was training Golovkin. Golovkin was, I don't know, he touted defense as Golovkin the male at the time, and we're talking Golovkin Canelo, I think. And we're talking how Golovkin would have done against the various middleweights in the world. How he did against Nigel Benn, Carl Froch, Julian Jackson, Jerome McLennan. We talked about all these fighters at length with Abel Sanchez. And I asked him, Abel, where is Andy Ruiz? He said to me, Andy Ruiz is gone off because a lot of people were fat shaming him. So Andy Ruiz has gone off. When he said that Andy Ruiz is coming back into boxing, he was working with his dad in construction. He was coming back into boxing. I said, Anthony Joshua, be very careful of this Andy Ruiz. He's got a nasty left hook, and if you get caught with the same punches the way Dillian White caught you, you're in trouble because it'll be the left hook that will cause you problems, and we know what happened. Turkey was not best players. What do you think AJ's career would have been if he was with Queensberry? Well, I can answer that question for you. Joe Kawasaki, Ricky Hatton. Who else was? Frank Bruno was under with Frank at one point, wasn't he? Bruno was. Let's not forget Bruno. Who else was under Matchroom? Not Matchroom. Frank. Chisora. Heavyweights under Frank Warren. Warren's had a few for heavyweights. I don't know. I couldn't answer that for you. But he would have guided Joshua's. There's no way in hell that Warren would have let Joshua anywhere near Ruiz. They would have taken that fight against what's his name? Trevor Bryant. Reckless with their hype. Well, they've always been reckless. I've always said it. They're mismatch room. I've always said it. But you see, all those people in the past that would come to me and say I was being derogatory against Matchroom. I said, if you put Matchroom and Matchroom and Queensberry in the same room together and put their fights together, there's no way Matchroom fighters will beat Warren fighters. Wouldn't happen. And I think at 11-0, I deserve a damn apology. Because I said, Matchroom, show. Warren, substance. That's what it is. When they picked Andy, I said this was a mistake. Andy is way better than Miller. Of course he is. I think even Miller would have beaten him because Miller's got a good chin. He's not intimidated, and he would walk forward and through punches. And the fact he's going forward against Joshua, I think he would have beaten Joshua. Ruiz gave Parker a razor close fight. Surely that would have rang alarm bells considering Parker was causing issues for AJ. Of course. Let's see, I believe they only picked Ruiz because he was a Mexican background. Bruno was good a fighter as AJ minus the marketing. Nathan Gorman, do you have connections with matchmakers? I did have a connection with one of the best matchmakers Britain's ever known, which is Dean Powell. Obviously, he passed away. Matchroom for dough, Queensbury for legacy. Great to see you with the head coach role. Thank you very much, Adam. Appreciate you for that. Appreciate that, Adam. By the way, I was with Nasser Hussain on last week Thursday. I was with Nasser Hussain. For those of you who don't know, Nasser Hussain is the former England cricket captain and also now commentator for Sky Sports, well renowned for his commentary. No, AJ Smoot Parker. No, he didn't. I don't understand though. Why did they not want to work with Don King and not enough money? No. Ego. Ego. Yes, Bashir still with Sorenko. Ego. Ego. That's what the problem was there. Legendary captain. He was. He was. He was. And now, hey, something you may not know. Nasser Hussain, his father, Joe Hussain, used to coach me at Ilford Cricket School. I was his captain. And Nasser and me went to the same cricket club together, Clay Hall. So now Nasser, 35 years celebrating capital cricket for school, capital cricket for kids, or kids cricket, right? 35 years of celebrated cricket in the community, working across London, right? Nasser's their president, and I worked with him when I started out my cricket in general. I was working at Lords for Middlesex. So I've come back after God knows how many years, globetrotting, Australia, the Caribbean, Africa, working across in Europe, and now coming back to England, yeah, after that stint, and having to sit in a room with Nasser Hussain, Angus Fraser, so old schoolboy heroes, and then coaches that I started out with that are still coaching today. You know, it was special. Wow, small world. Now you're talking to him again. There you go. If AJ wants to continue, who would you like to see him fight? It's not about AJ. You know what I mean? If AJ, I think Barry, you're missing the point, mate. AJ has been busy this week with damage control. Have you seen his interview about De La Hoya? I swear he's one loss away from having a public meltdown a la Joshua. Well, listen. When you get smashed 11-0, and some of those fights were even bloody close, 11-0, and the way Joshua got destroyed by Dubois, that's basically Queensbury and Matchroom. If you were going to explain it all, that's a brilliant illustration of what is going on today. Joshua Wilder retirement fight for the loser. It's not a retirement fight if the guy's still fighting. Even if Joshua gets knocked out, even if he gets knocked out by Wilder, the Fury fight's still on. I am very concerned. Very concerned. What's your favourite job ever? Sports based or non-sports based? I think this job now, it's a difficult start now, this job, because different challenges, going into a new environment, working for a new employer, different challenges, having to get used to the way that they do things. But I think this could be the best job. Payment-wise, because pay does matter, remuneration-wise, vision-wise, yeah, but just the challenges that are faced with it. So now I'd say that. Big Angus Fraser, he's huge, man. He's huge. The picture I've got out on social media, and he's absolutely huge. Hearn ran from Warren down for years and years and got walked over when they went head to head. Of course, Eddie's fighters are tumbling like dominoes. The risky payday fights finally come back to haunt them. Yep, game streaming is the best job, I think. Here's one. Looking back at all your favourite interviews, who's your favourite one? There's about four of them. One was the Muhammad Ali interview. Muhammad Ali's brother's interview. That was legendary. Interview with Destiny Child's former manager. That was a huge interview. 3, the interview I did with the guy, the guy saying, "Hell to the no, to the no, no, no. Hell no to the no, no, no. Interviewing that dude. That was a great interview there. And then my fourth interview was one where I exposed a racist head teacher, and they ended up getting sacked in Canada, and it was awful, absolutely awful, awful. In one class they had children, black children, forced to create KKK dolls. Yeah, well, it was awful. It was awful, 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 awful. Kid got bullied from year 7, and in year 11 was hospitalised with broken bones. Yeah, in the same school, girl got raped. That's terrible. And the teacher said, well, they shouldn't have worn a short skirt. Now that stuff was horrible. So that was an interview that exposed that school good and proper. Yeah. So there you go. That was one. Hopefully it all goes well with your new job. Yeah, challenges, but yeah, is your job better than a nightclub? Absolutely. I used to love your Stavern interviews. You used to stick it on him, and he didn't take that. He was a big star at the time. Oh, I love no my Stavern. The Fury interviews. Ingram, yo Ingram, remember Porky interviews? I do. Oh dear. The days when you had the Asgard tier, and went in on everyone's members. The good old days. Yeah, they were good times. They were good times. Good times. And I loved all of them. Often I'd meet them and talk to them. Yeah, good times, good times. Why was Stavern so bad in the Wilder rematch? I don't think he prepared as well as he should have prepared. Truth be told. Truth be told. I don't think he prepared the way he should have done. And I think he was out of the ring for a long time as well. But he just took the opportunity. Because I think Wilder was meant to fight somebody else. And then they pushed his fight through at the last minute. Yeah, no, we don't talk like that on this channel. Sorry, we don't talk like this. Go. How did you not get intimidated by the huge stars you interviewed? Because I didn't look at them as huge stars. I looked at them as teachers, and I was learning as a pupil about mindsets, success, resilience, resistance, overcoming how to overcome challenges, what made them great. Think about I did sort of stars: Crawford, Bivol, Thurman, Usyk, stars. And even you go back to even guys like Don Charles. Look at Don Charles now, the first black trainer in the UK to become heavyweight champion of the world. I met Bashir the same week that I interviewed Peter Fury for the first time. And that was in January 2013. I'd just gone from Grenada to the Caribbean, and one individual told me, if you go to the Caribbean, you'll never get interviews. Well, I was getting interviews every week, and those shows were the best shows ever, I think, for me, because those were proper shows where I would do an introduction, and then I would do the interview. I'd do the interview pre-recorded, and then I would give you what to expect in the interview, and then you do the interview. The old Bayloric TV interviews, do you remember them? They were the best ones ever. I thought they were the best. Stavern was so inactive, wasn't it because the Povetkin pulled out? Yeah, that was it. Tell us the story of how you met Bashir. Thurman, a complete waste of talent in the end. I feel either that or he lost drive. I think his wife. I better have had something to do. Have you seen how beautiful his wife is? You've seen how beautiful Thurman's wife is. Thurman's wife is very beautiful. Very beautiful. I think she's Indian or something like that. But, yeah, I think she, when you fall in love and you decide to get married and you have a child and you've done what you want to do, you've become champion of the world, you've made money. And let's remember as well, Al Heyman's fighters got, for the most part, overpaid. And so they didn't fight as regular as they should have done. And they were in contracts as well. So in Camp with the Furies, they were good. Yeah, that was good. That was very good. That was really good in Camp with the Furies. That was brilliant. I don't think, at the time, I don't think those interviews were appreciated the way they were. A, because some of the people that were around were complete knobs and jealous. B, because like all the stuff that people are doing now, like Peter Fury's doing interviews now, like a show now. I'd done that show a long time ago. I had a show where we had Eddie Chambers, Dave Allen, Peter Fury. I mean, that was a great show. It was a great show. Three guys. I remember when I tell you another show I liked. When we did the crossover shows, we had Tunde Jai with James Adabashir. Another show I enjoyed. Sermon's wife convinced him to retire, fair play, and got him out with his brain and still intact and earn a lot of too. That's a great woman, yeah. Why do Huey and Tyson no longer speak? Does my name have Fury at the end of it? I don't understand why people ask questions. Baylor Worldwide, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Still the same. How many times did you interview Hearn? Once. Once was all it took. Once was all it was needed. But there's some good times. Carson Jones. The Carson Jones interviews were brilliant. The Carson Jones series was really good. The build up to Carson Jones versus who was the dude? There was a dude. Forgot the guy. And he was a decent boxer as well. But he was a matchroom fighter and he fell apart. Did you get bad vibes from Eddie? No, not really. Bad vibes. Just, some people you like and some people you dislike. Some people you can manipulate, some people you can't. Carson Jones versus Kell? No, not that fight. Did you not like Hearn when you interviewed him? No, it's got nothing to do with not like. Some people that you enjoy interviewing and some people that when you interview them, they'll give you more. And some people you just interview them once and that one interview can last a lifetime. That interview I did with Hearn, I think, could last forever because it was straight up. There was no fancy stuff. He just spoke straight down the line. And he basically said what he's a second-hand car salesman. He said it himself. I didn't say it. How many times did you interview Warren? I think I've only interviewed Warren once or twice, to be fair. But I've spoken to him so much. I've spoken to Warren a lot. I've spoken to him. And to be honest, I was much more received by Warren. Much more well received. Much more invited to events. I was almost working with, what's this company called? Not Seconds Out. I can't remember the name of the company. Fight Hype TV. Fight Hype TV is where I started out doing these interviews. Eddie said bullshit and a smile. That's the secret to success. Well, there you go. You remember the interview well. Did you have a personal relationship with Frank or just a fan of his? I can't say I was a fan of Frank Warren. I was a fan of... Okay, if you were saying I'm a fan of anything, I would say I was a fan of the way he built and looked after his fighters. Where people were still disrespecting Frank. I kept saying, the way Frank goes about, the way he builds it, I don't know about how he pays his fight, and that's none of my business. I'm not a fighter. I'm not getting paid by Frank. It's not my business. But the work he does in terms of building his fighters and careers, the way he looks after his fighters, that is what I respect about Frank. I can't say I respect Frank because of business negotiation, because I've never done no business with Frank. So I can't sit here. I've not been in a room where the contracts have been flying backwards and forwards. I can't say it. And probably, as Don King said, you don't get what you deserve in boxing, you get what you negotiate. And another thing, I got a shout out to Don King. Don King and Carl King. I'll always remember them, because when they try to block me, when Stavern and Joyce were fighting, they tried to block me from getting access. And it was Don King that stepped in and got me access to the whole of O2 Arena. Shout out to Don King. Hearn definitely had one interview with you and realised you wouldn't be the one to rob his ego. Yep, absolutely. I found talk of a rematch disrespectful to Dubois immediately after the fight in the ring, especially after such a convincing ring. That's what I'm saying to you. How can you turn around and call about a rematch after your guy just got absolutely smashed to bits? I mean, you don't care about your fighter. Have you? Yes, I did. And Ben Chillon came along afterwards and I packed all that in. Adam Smith, I did interview him. He said, oh yes, we'll never be biased about Sky Sports will never be biased, and you can be sure that. And I looked at Adam Smith and I thought, Yeah, right. Sky not being biased. All right. What made you stop the boxing shows? Loss of love for the sport or just other adventures? Actually, I did a. I'm working with a couple of boys at the moment. I'm doing pad work with them at the school I'm in. So I haven't lost my love for the sport. Um, but no, well, I mean, where are we going with this? We interview somebody, they do the interview, the views go up. I'm in the best shape of my life, blah, 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 blah. Pre-fight, yeah, I'm going to smash this guy's head in. The weigh-in, blah, 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 blah. The fight. And it's a repetitive thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it's more and more people doing it badly. No, and I always remember when I used to do my interviews, no word of a lie. I do my interviews, and I know when I'm doing the interviews, most of the time people just go quiet. Like when I was going back and forth with Tyson Fury, people would just, because I just talked to Tyson. I didn't dare to kiss his ass. I just asked him questions. I'd ask him actual questions about his career, about his fights. So I'd get the best out of Tyson Fury. I wasn't there saying, "Oh, Tyson, you're the greatest, you're the best thing since sliced bread." No, I respect him as a champion. I respect what he did or he does. But then I'd back him up and ask him and stuff. You're saying one thing here, but you said something there. You're contrary in what you're saying. So it's just it, and that's what it was. I like Tyson. A lot of time for Tyson. A lot of time for Tyson, because when he wasn't talking to the world's media, he talked to me. So for that, I'll always have a lot of love for Tyson Fury, just regardless of what's happening now with him. Him, Peter, Huey. Yeah, got a lot of time for him. Peter, I've got a lot of time for. Um, you're the only person I've heard say something nice about Don King. Listen, Don King never did no business with me. Come on. If Don King robbed you, he also paid you more money than any promoter did. I mean, all these people have problems with Don King. But how many of those guys actually fight and actually had a contract with Don King? So it's absolute rubbish. I've never had a contract with Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren, Don King. I've never had a contract with any of these guys. So how these people can sit down and say, "Oh, well, these are the figures and stuff." No, you never had a contract in front of you. But I can only talk about the contract that's been put in front of me in terms of where I've worked. That's something I can grumble about. But I can't grumble about somebody else's contract that I've not even seen and the small stipulations. Probably half of you wouldn't even read the contract. So I can't get into that. I'll never get into that. I need to watch the own one, The Voice of Boxing. Did you question about Sky's biased commentary? I did. Did you play? Let's go. So accurate. Didn't you say Chisora would beat him to his face? Yeah, I did. I said, if you come out, I said, you come out of like a year out of boxing, right? You've retired, you've come back, or whatever it was. And Chisora was on a good run. Before he injured his hand, he was on a good run. He knocked over, I think he knocked over Johnson, the Malik Scott fight. And there's a couple other fights as well. Chisora had done well in. Kevin Johnson, in fact. Knocked over Kevin Johnson. Knocked him down. Johnson at times still was pretty good and a good chin. So he'd never been knocked out, Johnson. So for Chisora to have done that, he was on a good run. I think he was European champion and he injured his hand, if you remember. That was night Tyson Fury won and beat him for the European belt. But Chisora, you all didn't know beforehand, was looking really good in the gym before that injury. Really good. You could tell Tyson Fury was surprised with how straight up you were. The answers were more honest and personal. Yes, because I'm there to interview to get the best out of him. And I was always told by somebody who was very good at interviewing, always said to me, always try and get your guests the best side of your guests. I did try. Have I spoken with Cook? Oh, God, move on. Let's be real. The promoters of today would never create the historic events that Don King did. Absolutely. Once a lifetime promoter. Misha Joy Phelps. I knew Misha Joy Phelps before she entered boxing. Me and Misha used to talk a lot on Twitter. And she was still a model. And she was saying, like, should she get into... Actually, I've got a Michelle Joyce Phelps interview there as well. So you can check that out when you get a chance. And I met Rob once. Let's move on. He won the European title and British, I think, before the Fury match. Yes, he did. So he was in good form. And that overhand right where he was chucking all the time. And I said that because Fury was known to getting dropped by the overhand right. He did against Nevin Pajcek and against Steve Cunningham, I believe. Yeah, Steve Cunningham. So I said, if you leave your chin out the same way that Cunningham, who's a cruiserweight, could drop you, and Nevin Pajcek could drop you, if Chisora hits you with the overhand right, you're going to be in trouble. He said, all right, Ingram, and I've got the interview, so I've got a little surprise for you. And on that night, he turned around, he boxed southpaw, and he boxed the best I've seen Fury box against Chisora in the second fight. Yeah, I have had a bad. I've had an interview where I just actually said, you know what, forget the interview. Just bad energy. And he wasn't even somebody that was well known. It was actually somebody who just was trying to get their name out there. Ugh, horrible. Yes, I have interviewed Bellew. And at the time, it wasn't Tony Bellew, it was Anthony Bellew. So yes, if you go on BWTM, it was Bayloric TV, I interviewed Tony Bellew as well. Yeah. Have it interviewed Carl Froch? No. Got close to getting to Class Froch. Got close to getting an interview with him, but never did. But what I didn't get with Carl Froch, I got with Prince Nassim Hamed. I got an interview with Prince Nassim Hamed. Got an interview with Evander Holyfield. I got some really nice interviews as well. This female fighter again, beautiful. I can't remember her name again. She's such a good fighter. Riker, best female fighter in the world. Got an interview with her. Brilliant. No way you were able to mention the person you had the bad interview with. I would rather not give you the time of day. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible. Dylan White, yeah, I always try to get that interview, never happened. Peace out, Ingram. Stay safe, bro. Decades of excellent content. Put so much time into the sport for us viewers. Respect for Graph. Thank you. Are they all on your channel? Yep, they're still on the channel. Muhammad Ali's brother, yes. How do you stop talking with Michelle? She was on Twitter. She was on Twitter. No, the Michelle Joy Phelps you know now, that's somebody who's well established in the boxing world. I knew Michelle Joy Phelps way before she came into boxing. And she was still a model, and I think she's the cousin of the swimmer Michael Phelps. Lucia Riker, yeah, absolutely beautiful. Love the energy. She's something special. Lucia Riker. Lucy Marshall, yes, we should call Ingram His Excellency. His Excellency, we should call Turkey. Ingram is the British version of Turkey, our sheikh. Yeah, not bad. Yeah, but I can't beat my uncle. Now my uncle interviewed Muhammad Ali 3 times. He's the only British journalist to have interviewed Muhammad Ali 3 times. So there you go. Would AJ beat Bruno? No. He wouldn't. Because to beat Bruno, you have to be able to have some sort of durability about you. If you're not durable, you don't beat Bruno. The people that beat Bruno were guys who were very durable. Tim Witherspoon, Bone Crusher Smith, Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis. They all took Bruno's best shot and were able to outlast him. I don't see Joshua taking Bruno's best shot. Lucia Riker knows her boxing wherever I hear her speak. She's in the International Hall of Fame. You need a good inside game to beat Bruno too. How many rounds would AJ last with the foreign legends? Ali, don't talk about it. Mike Tyson, don't talk about. Holyfield, no. Lennox Lewis and Dave Allen. I met Ali at the 96 Olympic Games and even have a picture with him. That's beautiful, Taylor. That is beautiful. I'll tell you something else you probably didn't know. I did an interview back when I was in Grenada. And Ali's first pro fight, I was able to be in the ring because they donated that fight to Grenada. His first pro fight, that ring is in Grenada. Joe Louis and Jack Tunney. Gene Tunney. Those guys are dead men. Those guys were dead men before I was even born. Joe Louis and Jack Tunney. Gene Tunney, like, go and sleep, bro. I swear you're trolling me, Brian. Ryan. So yeah, good interviews. Well, some other interviews as well, but I probably forget. I've got a Deontay Wilder interview as well there. We can never forgive Ali's cousin for what they did to him. For such a legend, they treated him badly during the most vulnerable stage. AJ versus AJ, I mean, fancy matchup. AJ versus, I don't know. Them dudes would chuck. Those dudes had hands and they were durable. I don't know. They were light guys. They're smaller guys, so they had speed. So those guys would be fast like Usyk. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. If AJ hits them, then he may knock them over. But remember, I think anyone who goes forward against AJ, who can take his punches and who are not intimidated by him, they've got a good chance. But I think, but they are significantly smaller. Usyk versus Dubois versus Lewis and Mike Tyson. Who wins the tag team? Ingrid, have you seen the Amazon documentary Four Kings that debuted on weekend? I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard about it. I haven't seen it yet, but I need to get a chance to see it. I haven't watched it yet, no. It's amazing how much taller the heavyweights have got. But because they're taller, as Bashir said, after 6'3", he says durability for these guys are not the greatest. No, I haven't seen the Vince McMahon one. AJ's favourite fight is Jack Johnson. Do you truly believe that? Do you believe that? Because when he's talking about boxing, he talks about Mike Tyson, talks about Muhammad Ali, talks about Evander Holyfield. He never talked anything about Jack Johnson. Barry, I think it's just caused Ingram a brain hemorrhage. I think so. I think we might be going back to an era of the shoulder heavyweights dominating quite soon. He said it to just. Look, like, I think completely that I think you've completely missed the mark of what I've been talking. The point of what AJ's not in control of what he says. He's not in control. When you control someone's intellectual property, you don't have control of what they say or what they do, for the most part. AJ had too much of the drugs that Wild has had. I don't know about all that. I feel sorry. In some ways, I feel sorry for AJ. I do. I feel sorry for him. AJ needs to go back to the dark room and stay there for a long time. So Hearn said to him, "You must say Jack Johnson is your favourite." Oh no, no, no. Somebody have a word with Barry, please. I have a question about AJ for you. Go ahead, ST. Try it. Ask the question. I am not AJ insider. It's again pure speculation. But I would like somebody to go and do their research on that lifetime contract AJ had, and if that lifetime contract is still in place, what does that lifetime contract mean for AJ? Does that mean AJ cannot pull out a fight? He cannot retire, and he fights who he's told to fight. That's what I'm going to do. Go ahead, ST. Ask the question. Who's your favourite all-time heavyweight of all time? Oh, favourite heavyweight of all time. All time. Favourite. I liked Evander, man. Not gonna lie, I loved Evander. I loved Evander more than I loved Mike. I loved Evander. His way he put his punches together. AJ used to be polite, then very aggressive, and now nice again. What do you think his actual personality is? I feel like we don't truly know him. Maybe because he doesn't truly know himself. And if you're being controlled, then you go where the puppet master tells you what to do. What do you think of Moses Atama? other heavyweight prospects coming through. There's a guy that I rate very highly. Very highly. Ricardo Torres. There's a couple of guys I like. Might not all be heavyweights. Ricardo Torres, Abdullah Mason, Ricardo Torres. They're two guys I like very highly. See, AJ has two more fights at Turkey. Do you see what I'm saying? He's got two more fights he's got to honour. Got to be Muhammad Ali for me. What about Marciano? Hell no. AJ's not a nice person at all, ST. Richard Torres, yeah, really, Taylor. I've heard some bad things about his past to get fit and fair. Okay. Taylor! Hello, Taylor. I think I remember you now. How are you doing, Taylor? Yeah. Ricardo Richard Torres. Yeah, I rate Richard Torres. What I've seen of him so far, I like him. Clean work. Marcel is undefeated, bro. Bro. Marciano and the Mafia. That's all I'm saying to you. Marciano and the Mafia. That is all I'm saying to you. And the Marciano 50-0, yeah? How many heavyweights have you seen get close to 50-0? What's happened to them? Mysteriously. Anybody is getting close to that 50-0, what mysteriously happened to him? Rocky Balboa. Rocky Balboa, I heard a story. Rocky Balboa is actually meant to be Joe Frazier. Rocky Balboa is meant to be Joe Frazier. Philadelphia, Joe Frazier. I'm sure Sylvester Stallone said it was like Joe Frazier they were talking about there. The past and camp activities are well known in the industry. He's a real dick. I don't know. Jack Johnson was great. Yeah, he was great at his time. I don't know if Jack Johnson in this era, with the way he boxed, these two, Jack Johnson in this era, with the modern technical stuff, it'd be interesting fight. But Jack Johnson back then, now, come on. Then they didn't even colour TV back then. As Richard Torres got a moustache and looks like a gay 1980s porn star, or is someone else? It might be him. It might be him. He's short. He kind of fights a bit like Mike Tyson. Off topic, your Vlad Tsarenko interview was quite emotional. His story. What were your thoughts on him? I like Vlad. I've been in camp with Vlad. I think that was another great interview as well. When I went into camp with Vlad. If you get a chance to see Vlad Tsarenko and James Ali Bashir working out together. That was brilliant. I learned so much. That was where you saw me. You see at the beginning of the video, or beginning on the YouTube channel, you'll see myself and James Ali Bashir on the pads. That was amazing. Absolutely amazing. I learned so much in that small camp. Shake and bake. Beautiful. Man, just little nuances, the way Tsarenko would move, the way Bashir wanted him to move. Beautiful. Do you... Got some real funny dudes here, man. Real funny dudes. My favourite fight of all time. There's nobody else that comes close to him is Sugar Ray Robinson. Since a young boy, I love Sugar Ray Robinson. Not just for what he did inside the ring, but what he did outside the ring. Sugar Ray Robinson, my bro, was trying to get up to heavyweight. It was a shame he got up to light heavyweight. They were talking about a fight between him and Floyd Patterson. I would love to have seen it. Sugar Ray Robinson. Love Sugar Ray Robinson. And he's my favourite fighter of any time, of any era, of any time. Sugar Ray Robinson's my hero. He's not heavyweight. Oh, Jesus. So, block the serious, man. What kind of questions are asking about OnlyFans to a man? This is a boxing channel, a lifestyle channel. What about Archie Mo? Archie Mo, the mongoose. Yeah, my trainer, Mark Reefer. His son used to box, Mark. And his dad used to train me. His dad was an awesome trainer. That's before I moved to Barry Jones's and Steve Robinson's trainer, Ronnie Rush. That's where I was going to train with them, and I had the pro contract to everything in my hand, literally. Signed a pro contract to be with Ronnie Rush. I was training in Wales. Yeah, good memories. And we were talking about one of the guys we studied was the mongoose. That's where you draw the guy in and then you lean back, and as the guy overextends with the jab, or the jab that extends the jab, you drop back and you throw the right hand. There was another move you do. You go. I've never seen it in a boxing room since. You shift to the left, you shift to the right, you shift back to the left, and as he comes to go to the right hand, you crack him with a left hook. Archie Moore, the mongoose. Yes. Sugar Ray Robinson's Ali's boxing hero. My favourites were Mike Tyson, Fitz Trinidad, and Roy Jones. I just love punches, especially left hookers. You got to put De La Hoya in there, man. What are your thoughts on Dominic Ingle and Brendan Ingle? I think Prince Nassim should never have left the Ingles. No, I don't think he should have. The Sonny Liston story is very sad. Man was used and abused all his life. Never allowed to be human and never dignified life. Interesting. I wonder if history's repeating itself. Was your boxing style like Archie's? No, my boxing style was like Howard Eastman, so they say. Even Howard Eastman. Back in the, I loved Howard Eastman, but he was just a talent that was wasted, man. Howard Eastman could have done so much more. Remember his fight he had against McCracken? If you've ever seen that fight, go back and watch that fight. That was a fight. Oh yeah, sorry, forget De La Hoya. How could I forget to add him? He was one of my favourites, De La Hoya as well. I used to love the way De La Hoya would put 4 or 5 punches together. Great fight against Trinidad, and he started running for the last 3 rounds. What happened? Say, listen, I'm uneducated on the matter. John L. Sullivan's my favourite, bro. I don't believe you, Barry. I don't believe you're any old. I don't think You're not any older than 18, Barry. So I don't know how John O'Sullivan is your favourite. I don't think you're even older than 18, Barry. The oldest you are is 21, max. John O'Sullivan, bro. I don't even know who the hell John O'Sullivan is. Was he middleweight John O'Sullivan? I don't even know. To be honest. Favourite fighters, Julian Jackson's got to be up there. He was the first champ ever. Barry loves his untelevised box. There are some weirdos in the chat tonight. I don't know. Yeah, I think people are just being funny and trolling. These trolling, and yeah. Oh, by the way, check out my interviews with Julian Jackson. Legendary interviews with Julian Jackson. I mean, yeah, Julian Jackson. That was some great interviews I got there. The KO versus Harold Graham. Actually, have you seen my interview with Harold Graham? He talks about that interview. Actually, I thanked Harold Graham for splitting my tongue open. Your favourite is now Bob Fitzsimmons. Bloody hell. Make your mind up. Bob Fitzsimmons a light heavyweight. It was a bad. Next thing you'll be telling me your favourite is Dick Tiger. Go on, keep going, mate. Yeah, he's taking the piss. Of course he is. Another man I loved was Azuma Nelson. I think Azuma Nelson threw the hardest punch I've ever heard in a boxing ring, right? It was against Jim McDonnell. I think Jim McDonnell's getting married a couple of weeks later. Azuma Nelson hit Jim McDonnell with a left hook. I swear, on television you could hear it at the back of the arena. That's how hard that left hook was. The third lineal heavyweight champion. Yeah. Luis Ortiz was very good, but not used properly. Yeah, I think they sidelined him in his career. I think they're trying to do the same thing with Zhang. Those dudes. I think there's something with them dudes. I think these dudes that get sidelined are guys that are not prepared to sign certain contracts, so they push them to the side. How would you get access to Hearn shows, or would you have a heart attack? How would I get... I wouldn't go to them anymore. I'm just not interested. Jack Dempsey, bloody hell, flipping hell. Barry's favourite is probably Pima. Yeah, he was the heavyweight. He was the heaviest heavyweight champion. Did an interview with George Foreman III. That was a good interview. George Foreman III warned us of what was going to happen to Keith Thurman. That was a great interview. Man, I've got so many interviews. So many interviews. That backlog of interviews. Here's the interview I've got. Boots Innes. Boots Innes. How people could say that Boots had an interview with Boots Innes. Boots Innes used to come on my show regular when he was starting his career out. Boots Innes, yes. Superstar Boots Innes. Zhang. Now, how has he not had any chances, man? And Big Barry. Big up Barry, yeah, absolutely. Primo was a heavyweight. Primo Carnera was the heaviest heavyweight champion in history, I think. I think he was. I think it was 300 pounds. But I think Miller may have beaten that. Right, I gotta get out of it. Guys, I'm talking much longer than I thought I would. So, by the way, let me get to my point. Check out that. See if anyone can do any research on that lifetime contract with Joshua. See if anyone can come back to me in the comment section and find out more about it. Because if there's a man there that... And actually, in America, there is the Ali... I think the Ali rule. Muhammad Ali rule, something like that. So, that stuff couldn't happen in America. So please, go and do your research on a lifetime contract. Find out what a lifetime contract is and whether what I've been saying about a lifetime contract and Joshua make any sense. Let me check it now, Ingram. Stay live for a bit and I'll check it now, mate. Okay, Joe Walker, bad man. Joe Walker was but now you're talking about a fighter. Joe Walker. All those guys are good fighters, though. But Walker was a bad man. Joshua did say he signed with Matchroom for life. I remember. There you go. The lifetime contract I talked about. When he re-signed with Matchroom, when there was that conversation about him going to Al Heyman, he signed a lifetime contract. AJ has a lifetime contract with Hearn. What exactly do you want to know? I want to know whether lifetime contract means he has to fight regardless of whether he wants to or not, and he fights guys whether he wants to or not, because then that would make sense as to why his promoter, when he gets knocked out, can just jump in to say he's got or automatic rematch without even consulting with his fighter. That would explain why AJ's got one fight left with Riyadh season. Well, you just got actually sparked by Dubois, but you were still on that contract with the Riyadh season. What's that one contract? Oh, that might be the contract with Wilder. So Wilder and Joshua to fight. Interesting. So, yeah. How did Joe Louis reign so long as heavyweight champion? I tell you what. Let Joe Louis hit you with a left hook. 100 million per year, but it's known as a career contract. Apparently, looking into it more. Please do. It was a lifetime contract. Don't look at no career contract. That's a lifetime contract. Don't let them bullshit you with that. It was a lifetime contract. I remember there's a picture of Joshua in that white t-shirt and Eddie Hearn in that suit. And Joshua signed a lifetime contract. I remember it. And I remember doing a show on it. The lifetime contract. So... for me, that lifetime contract would explain what's been going on with Joshua. I'm not making excuses because I assume the man's making a lot of money. I assume. But you see, Dillian White will talk about the slave contract, or Barry Ryan is that Guerrero guy. He could be Ruben Guerrero. Why did they not want Jack Johnson to be champion? Yeah, big up John Smith. Good to see you. It's a wishy-washy. It says till he retires, but who doesn't give an end date? Yeah, well, it's exactly wishy-washy. It's a slave contract, bro. It is a slave contract. Sure of it. Sure, it's a slave contract. But they can't obviously openly say that because that would leave them open, and they are accountants, so they only protect things. Shit, yeah, Ruben. Yeah, if it is Ruben, I'm sure it's Ruben. A Zuma Nelson interview calling out Barry McGuigan was. Listen, McGuigan wanted no part of that. McGuigan wanted no part of a Zuma Nelson. No part of a Zuma Nelson. Zuma Nelson. Oh, God, funny. There are fights that never happened. Witter versus Hatton. Love to see that fight. Your interview with Harold the Shadow Knight was cool, mate. I had a second interview which was better than that one. The second interview was about Lennox Lewis when he fought Shannon Briggs, and in the first round, Lennox Lewis was out on his feet in the corner when he fought against Shannon Briggs in the first round. Like it with Stacey McKinley, do you have any others lined up in the future? He was hilarious. Stacey's been poking me. Do you know something? I'm going to be dead honest with you, right? These interviews, I love these dudes. I love these people. But it is very draining. Not because they're not great guys. They are great guys. But it's draining because when you do those interviews, they're so in-depth. And you're listening and you're constantly trying to get information out of these people. It's not easy. So literally do these interviews now. It's like deep diving with these guys. But I love them, though. Okay, it says, wow. This is what it says in the statement. No end date or length or contract regarding Joshua's latest deal with Matchroom was detailed in the statement. There we go. That's what I'm saying to you, ST. AJ got $8 million for the Dubois fight. And Hearn is not a promoter for Riyadh season, but an agent. I'm sure he gets at least 10% of AJ's purse. Ask ST, I'm not some random guy called Ruben. No, nobody's sure, mate. Eddie said that it's AJ's last. It is AJ's last contract. Well, no, AJ's last fight with Riyadh season. Prince Azim was supposed to fight Zuma Nelson, but never happened. Franks did Naz clear, world clear, yeah, because you saw what Barrera did to Naz. Shame we never got Marquez versus Nazim. I remember the lifetime contract, Ingram. It was around the Ruiz fight, if I remember correctly. There you go. That's what I'm saying to you. There's something in those lifetime contracts and the way AJ's fighting. If you were boxing and you were in a slave contract or you were in a contract, you'd lock yourself in a contract. Now the question is, how do you lock himself into that contract? I heard, I don't know how true this rumor is, but there was some stuff at Fleet Street around AJ. I don't know how true it is, and they've got papers on AJ. That was the first thing. And then I remember some stuff coming out in the newspapers about AJ and his family personal life, and I'm like, this ain't cool. But this sort of thing where you threaten a fighter, threaten a guy, like we'll dish dirt on you, so it's best you sign with us. Ingram, have you seen that YouTuber, the YB, or the YB? I love the YB. He is hilarious. LL crossover would be good. He calls him Anthony Johnson. Oh, I love YB. YB is one of my favorites. When I get time to look on YouTube, the YB is a guy I tune into because he's so funny. The YB is funny. He's so funny. AJ would never read the fine print. Exactly. And John Smith has been the most loyal. Shout out to John Smith. John Smith accuses me of being Ruben guy. It quite possibly could be. Yeah, probably, Barry. Because some of the questions you ask, I like Ruben. How much Eddie Hearn making money out of AJ Piggy Bank? I remember Ingram prediction of Bradley Pacman, one of the first videos I ever saw. Yeah, remember when I said that that's gonna. I've never seen in my lifetime a fighter promote a rematch before the first fight. Bro, I've watched your gaming for years. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, but so is Ruben. I watched Time Booth, but he's gone down a dark path. You talk like Ruben did. That's my point. And Ruben's disappeared. You always ask myself the question, why do people make fake accounts? Like, why do they make 5, 6, 7, 8 different accounts with different names? I never understood. Also, remember when we all know that AJ has been on gear all his career and Hearn has proof. And remember the whole thing with Miller and AJ and why Miller was talking stuff about AJ, and then that fight fell through. It had nothing to do with Miller popping. It had nothing to do with Miller popping. I have one account. Who's Ruben? Some dude. Good point, Taylor. There we go. So there's all this stuff. There's too much stuff there, man. That lifetime contract's like a noose around his neck. If AJ's on gear, surely he would have failed the drugs test. He'd surely be. Stop. Stop. Do you the same team that was going to allow Ben to fight Eubank? Bro, come on, man. I can't believe you even said that, ST. Oh, yeah, that's it. I know. Probably you were being all sarcastic. Yeah, I know. I know you've been sarcastic, but I had to stop anyway because there are people who probably believed you. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I don't know if there's a news, but remember, it's not. He's not. AJ's not the only fighter this happened, by the way, with Manny Pacquiao. Why do you keep signing back with Top Rank? Because apparently Top Rank were giving Pacquiao money because he was gambling his money away, and he's gambling his money and womanizing, and so Top Rank were lending money to Pacquiao. I heard, and Bob Aaron had dirt on him. That's why he had to go and re-sign with Bob. And that's what I heard. So it's something that's quite possible. There you go. Bob had Pac-Man on a leash. Remember the story of the briefcase full of money? Mm-hmm. Now see what I'm talking about. So there's correlation between what's going on with Pacquiao and what's going on with AJ. I remember all these guys that seem to go missing in boxing. You don't see them fighting. Well, that's because they're in contracts. And those contracts say, well, you can't fight on another. If you don't fight for me, then you can't fight on another network for 2 years or 3 years. That's a contract. That's a contract. So that's why you see a lot of these fight. You don't see a lot of these fighters fighting. Barry, why'd you ask the most ridiculous of questions? Because if I'd been on PS5 today, when you know I've got a full-time job, why'd you ask such stupid questions? You look like American, but your accent is British. Well, yeah, maybe so. Maybe it was my influence, my long-time influence with an American that was in my life for many years. 10 years of my life. Ingram calls Zhang to KO Joyce. Pac-Man Prime versus... Pac-Man beats Crawford, man. Come on, man. Pac-Man beats Crawford. Come on. Come on. I thought you worked from home sometimes. I work from home sometimes. A head cricket coach at a school works from home. Bro, I don't understand you. Even Mayweather told Crawford he didn't want that work. Of course, Nick Ball versus Ronnie Rios this Saturday. How you calling it, BWTM? Don't know. Look at it. I like Nick Ball, but I think Nick Ball can get caught in between punches. He's a good fighter, Nick Ball, but you know how in the UK we elevate fighters far quicker than we should do. Nick Ball's a good fighter, and Frank's got him. Don't know, but to beat Nick Ball, you got to punch with him. You got to punch in between his punches. Eddie Hearn said AJ bring back British boxing. So the slave brought back British boxing. I don't understand the stuff that people take and they Eddie Hearn said Brook would stop Golovkin. Yeah, I know. I think Nick and Dubois are our most exciting fighters in terms of ring technique. I agree with you there. Floyd Mayweather. Yeah, Floyd's still fighting, but I heard he's on the run, Floyd. He owes a lot of money, people a lot of money. So I understand. Something to do with the mafia. He had those 3 fights that Floyd had against that guy. What's that guy's name again? Gatto Gotti, yeah. The 3 fights with Gotti. I'm sure the Floyd was paying off some money with that. The 3 fights. So why is he still fighting? Don't know. Joe Frazier versus AJ. John Gotti the third, yeah. Joe Frazier versus AJ. Come on, are you serious? Are you serious? Joe Frazier. Smoking Joe Frazier. Bro. Right. Is there anything we talk about before I end this show? I'm enjoying the show. It's nice. Brooke got slaughtered by Hearn. Yeah, I remember. I would say again that I did the interview with Eddie when I talked about that Brooke fight, and I said that I think Eddie was throwing Brooke under the bus. He said he wasn't throwing Brooke under the bus, but he was. Brooke got sorted by Hearn, put him in a dangerous fight just for the bag. Now Brooke's eye will never be the same. Well, there you go. There you go. So don't worry about AJ. If AJ gets thumped up the head 3-4 times more, it doesn't matter. Ingram at home, really? No, I don't listen to that, bro. I wouldn't listen to that. I would like to point out that AJ again walked out to the Godfather theme tune. Yeah, but who's the Godfather? Who's the Godfather? Who's the daddy? That's the question you got. These people are so cryptic and they're so arrogant. Who is the Godfather? He ain't the Godfather. He may have come out to the Godfather, but he ain't the Godfather. Bivol's the best. Bivol is the best light heavyweight in the world. Bivol has the ability to punish Beterbiev and not allow him to set to throw those shots. Those guys that knocked out, they don't have the boxing ability of Bivol. Bivol's got the ability to keep him on the jab and walk him onto big shots. Bivol's got the ability to punish. Not Bivol. Yeah, Bivol's got the ability to punish, but Beterbiev, he's got the ability to punish him. He punches hard enough, right? He punches accurate enough, and he's got good defensive skills. But Beterbiev's defense, to be fair, is his punching power. But he's fighting a scientist now. And I think Bivol's I've always said he's the best light heavyweight in the world. He is. And he's got a good chin. He can box. He's got better boxability than Beterbiev. Beterbiev is punching power. That's what he is. I won't say Beterbiev is a great punch boxer. Actually, he's great punching power. He leaves lots of holes in his defense when he's fighting. He's there to be tagged. The way he comes forward, he's there to be tagged. I believe Bivol's the best light heavyweight in the world, honestly. I'm going to go with Beterbiev on points, but Bivol is solid. I'm going with Bivol by stoppage. Dubois came out to some Dennis Brown. What a G. Yeah, that's his family. That's not him. The older George Foreman might be my favourite, actually. Eddie is the daddy. Possibly. Beterbiev stoppage, not going with that. Ingram doing virtual coaching sessions with Wii Sports. Interesting. Beterbiev KOs everyone he gets some ring of. Everybody to this point, but Bivol's a different situation for me. Sorry. ST favorite fighter. My money's on Beterbiev, but it will be close. I'm going Bivol boxing ability. Do you remember the great Mike Hawke? Oh, remind me. Have we got any more on that contract, by the way, people? Any more on that contract? While you're at it, please, do me a favour. Get yourselves over to BWTM Gaming. Subscribe, guys. I need a lot of you to come over there. Come over to BWTM Gaming and join in when I'm doing my... I've got my PS5 now, so come in, join in. I need to know what's next I'm going to be doing. Fabio Wardley, I'm picking... Do you know something about this year? People not talk about it. Thank you. Fraser Clark is an Olympian. Fabio Wardley is white collar. How the hell are you allowing a white collar man to thump you up and drop you and go to a draw? How is that possible? I don't think Fraser Clark can be any better. I think Fabio Wardley can be better. If you can dig out any dirt on AJ contract, we'll leave you in the comments. Thank you. That was pulled by Clark. No, I knew he'd underestimated Fabio Wardley the first time because he kept talking about, oh, you're a white collar fighter, you're a white collar fighter, oh, you fight white collar boxing, blah, 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 blah. You didn't go down, and that's why he got punched up the way he did. So I think I'm going Wardley rematch. Wardley's still improving, he is. And he's a guy that will study and study meticulously. You know who Wardley sort of reminds me of, ish, in the way they're mental and how they set themselves up? Wardley reminds me of Carl Froch. And I'll tell you why, not in boxing style, but in mentality. If you remember Carl Froch, he's documented everything he did. Oh, yeah, I did 10 runs, flipping. I ran up this mountain and I did this and I did that. He's meticulous about everything. And with a guy like that, they're clocking and tracking it. And he will go and he'll look back at tape and go, right, I was sloppy here, I was sloppy there, I was sloppy there. And he will correct those mistakes. He will definitely correct those mistakes. He definitely will. So yeah, if you do find anything in the comment section, please let me. Guys, can somebody talk sport? Anthony Joshua has signed a new career-long promotional deal with Eddie Hearn, which will keep him with Matchroom until he retires from boxing. I'm OT as expert at boxing than you and Ingram and the other guys, bro. My favorite heavyweight favorite of all time is Jeff. Bro, what are you doing? Are you on flipping Google and Wikipedia now? Google Wikipedia, and you're going for their top 10 heavyweights of like yesterday, and you're saying, well, he's my favorite, 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 he's mate, I don't know, Barry. If I gave you a box of M&Ms with different colours, you would call every colour in that packet of M&Ms, and you would turn around and say, that's your favourite. That's why I can't take you seriously. Ingram, wait, Taylor says. The first UK heavyweight champion of the world, that has to be respected. Why does it need to be respected? Is anyone talking about the first heavyweight champion? Is this chat got anything to do with the first heavyweight champion? Or even the last heavyweight champion? I'm not doing historic. Only you, Barry, is talking about it. Yeah, go ahead, Taylor. I'm not going anywhere yet. is in the second year of his 5-year DAZN deal. Five-year DAZN deal. Jesus Christ. So he fights twice a year. That's the way. Joshua can't retire, bro. That's the conversation I'm having. If he's in that contract, if he's in that slave contract, if he's in that lifetime contract, he cannot retire for another 5 years or another 3 years. So, how old is he? 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. That's not good. Maybe that's why he had his guard down. He wants to get knocked out forever. If that's true, that's sad. Lifetime contract. Bruce Seldon. Probably. Jesus. 3 years, man. Jesus. So if he fights Fury and he fights Wilder, and probably still has to do media for his whole life. Who is Bruce? Oh my God. Hearn truly is a slave master. AJ's in no state to fight anymore. He isn't. He's finished. His soul has been taken. And what you have is just a body. Literally. ST, who is Bruce Seldon? Bruce Seldon was terrible. One of the worst heavyweight. You asked who the worst heavyweight champion in history was. I would say Bruce Seldon. AJ shattered me. Of course he is. Imagine you now got thumped up by the guy that you call the boy. The boy thumped you up. Do you know what I just sat here and thought? AJ versus Moses Atalma. Yeah, they would do that. They would stick Moses Atalma in with AJ to sell to build up Moses Atalma. And Moses Atalma, you're laughing. Moses Atalma will knock AJ out. If that AJ fights Moses Atalma, he will knock AJ out. I would put Moses Atalma in the ring with AJ today. Right now, I'll put Moses Atalma in. It's timing. You got a guy that if you walk him back and you throw punches at him, he's going to fall over. And think about that. Mark, I don't know where Mark has been, to be honest. I think ever since I got my PS5, he went missing. Yeah. Got to go. How can I find it when you're live? Subscribe to this channel, mate, and subscribe to my BWTM gaming channel, please. It's not just the boxing, but the media abuse he's got to endure. I thought you were buying FC25 Undisputed. FC25, Marky promised me you'd buy that. I bought my PS5. That was part of the deal. I buy my PS5, he buys my FC25. I've just won the Champions League and the Premiership in tactical mode with Arsenal. So if you give me a new challenge, thank you so much, Charlie. I appreciate it. If you give me a tactical, give me a new team to work with, I will do. Marky said he would buy you FC and Undisputed for you. Well, I don't know where Marky's gone to. I don't know where he's gone to. But I trust he'll be back. I trust Marky will be back. No worries, he'll be back. I don't know, may not be well or something. But guys, thank you so much. But yeah, pray for AJ, because if that's the case, yeah, turn notifications as well. If that's the case, then Marky versus Ingram in the next Red season. The bell notification, I don't know. I feel sorry for AJ. That's all I'm saying. I hope I'm absolutely wrong about this slave contract. I hope I'm absolutely wrong about AJ fighting who he's told to fight, and in fact he will fight until he's 39 years old. I'm really concerned. He promised, he did. Right, I'm out of here. I've got to play some football tonight. I don't know which team I'm going to go to yet. I think I've just gone to stay with Arsenal, win the European Super Cup, and play the World Club Championships. I might just go on for another season or half a season, and then I'm still England manager as well. I've got to do that now. So I've got England team I've got to work with. Right, let me get out of here. Enough talking. Thank you so much. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, leave your comments, and find out what you can more on this lifetime contract with AJ. So potentially he could still be boxing at 38 and 39. And if that's the case, then a fight against Moses Atalma must surely happen. And he ends up being AJ ends up being a journeyman fighter. And that will be a sad, sad thing to do. Like where AJ ends up being like Danny Williams. God forbid. Good night, everyone. Thanks for watching.